Either that or he's a real good doppelganger. Isn't that Keanu Reeves? Bruh.
Very early on in his career, Keanu Reeves told reporters that his name, Keanu, meant
cool breeze over the mountains.
It is a kind of perfect summation of who he is as a star, not just on screen, but in terms of what we know about him as a person.
You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
I have been a part of some films that have been embraced, and I'm very grateful.
As an actor, you're essentially living behind the bars.
Right. Comedy and tragedy.
He took some solace in science fiction reading and in comic books, which is really interesting when you think about the trajectory of his career and the kinds of films he ended up making.
He was a private child who struggled a lot due to dyslexia, which is something that he has been quite forthcoming about, and how that struggle impacted him. Didn't really have any interest in acting until the influence of his stepfather really gave him that kind of bug.
Keanu has a really interesting background in that he was born in Beirut, in Lebanon, when his parents were living there. His mother was English. His father was a mix of ethnicities, including Hawaiian, hence his Hawaiian name, Keanu.
His mother was working in Beirut, where she met his father, but they did split up when Keanu was 3. So he didn't really have a relationship with his dad. He didn't even really meet him properly until he was about 13.
Art had become a pivotal aspect for Keanu and his sister Kim, who were entranced by fiction and film alike. Growing up in the 70s, there was no lack of incredible films for the siblings to watch.
Later on, he said that when he was growing up, he could only imagine that he would go to Hollywood. His goal was always to go to Hollywood because the films he watched as a kid were made in Hollywood, and he understood that he wanted to be part of that world.
So Keanu's stepdad was Paul Aaron, who was a Hollywood director and Broadway producer. Paul Aaron was very supportive of Keanu's interest in acting and eventually would recommend him for a job at the Hedgerow Theatre in Pennsylvania, where he would spend some time working as an apprentice and assisting and kind of living there and helping out.
Keanu grew into the definition of a hotshot, high-octane teen. His stage performances during his years of education placed him in a handful of short films. It wasn't long before he found himself starring in commercials and eventually in Hanging In, a Canadian sitcom.
Hey, where do you keep the towels? Pete said we could use the shower.
Oh, Peter put you in here.
Yeah, you rescued us.
Where did he find you?
Reeves worked for the Canadian Broadcasting Company when he was a teenager for the youth news program Going Great. He starred in a few different American shows when he first moved to Hollywood, including Babes in Toyland and Brotherhood of Justice, before he was able to get his first big film role.
Hockey has always been a massive part of Keanu's life. After his move to Toronto, Keanu took up the sport, which served him in more ways than one. It was a huge asset when Keanu landed a role in his first feature film. The movement of his body complemented his more outlandish and extreme roles. He showed promise whilst playing as Heaver, a goalkeeper in the light-hearted sports feature, Youngblood. Even if the film was a little formulaic, it gave Keanu an opportunity to experience a larger film set.
I'm playing a 17-year-old body with a 40-year-old mind, okay? But then I had to play with my conception of 40, which was sort of older, right? You look at a 40-year-old and go, you're old, you know, but he's not.
It sounds like a juicy, challenging role, and it's good that you got this one, and we look forward to seeing you in other things, and thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
So I think that definitely having Paul Aaron as kind of a figure in his life that even after he divorced Keanu's mother was still there to support him and help him get a green card to start his journey in Los Angeles must have played a kind of significant role to him in influencing and shaping that desire. He was also advised to change his name because Keanu sounded too ethnic, which he briefly considered but ultimately decided wasn't quite right, and I think is a great decision because now his name has become almost synonymous. You say Keanu, everyone knows who you're talking about.
He's in a kind of stoner drama called River's Edge about teenagers involved in a murder.
It's this really underrated cult movie.
River's Edge was a curious project because in the time of 80s lighthearted teen fiction, it stood out as one of the grungier, darker pieces. It offered Keanu a chance to approach a more serious role. Whilst the actor was still up and coming, it served as an opportunity to carry a role with heavy thematic undertones.
The film shows the kind of malaise of this community and how the teenagers have to come to terms with this incredibly harrowing situation. And Keanu was praised quite roundly for his performance as Matt, who's one of the, I would say, darker characters within it. He kind of struggles a lot with the situation.
Try! You think, Don John?
I'm your brother.
Where do my children go at night?
His performance was regarded as a real breakout by people like the New York Times. Everyone was kind of amazed that this presence had kind of come out of nowhere. I think he was really able quite early on to establish himself as quite a distinctive figure in acting who was someone definitely worth keeping an eye on.
Permanent Record, a more underrated feature, had Keanu play as Chris Townsend.
Buddy, I don't know if I did the right thing.
After the passing of his closest friend, Keanu's upbeat character changes drastically. The film depicts grief in a very unique way, having sharing the experience between a range of characters of which Keanu seemingly has to manage.
He also, in the late 80s, has a co-starring role in Dangerous Liaisons, a costume drama in which one might say he's just a little bit miscast. So he makes his really big breakthrough in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. A really distinctive film and one that seems perfectly suited to him. It's really what made him a star more than any other film he'd done to that point. So Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is a film about two high school students who have to create a history paper, and somehow they manage to travel through time to meet some of the characters they need to write about in their paper. It's just a wonderful, wide-eyed adventure story.
Let's go back into history.
I think that this was due to it being this really big, silly, fun movie which took something that people already kind of were seeing a lot of in this time travel adventure movie genre that had developed with something like Back to the Future. It combined it with this kind of new era, shall we say, of kind of stoner comedies which were very silly and just presented themselves as not taking film too seriously.
What makes it really memorable and remarkable is that it's a film about teenage male friendship that is utterly without aggression or malice. They're just good friends. They get along really well. They help each other. Excellent! And they do have an excellent adventure. So it's a really sweet film, maybe even slightly educational film, given that you get to meet Socrates and Abraham Lincoln. A film that established him in his wide-eyed capacity. His big phrase in the film is there's a sense in which everything is new and exciting and appealing to this rather sweet, not entirely bright teenage boy.
The film was really well received by critics and made a surprising return on the box office investment and has become known now as one of the kind of best sci-fi movies around because it just takes the genre, which sometimes I think can feel quite serious, and plays with it and has fun with it. It's really known as a defining presence within Keanu's filmography.
There's an element of nostalgia to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Like you can't, I imagine if you watch as a teenager, you simply identify with Bill and Ted. But if you watch it as an adult, you kind of look back to teenage years and the kinds of adventures and the kinds of friendships that you had at that time in your life. So I think it's a perfect film for nostalgia. It's a perfect series to stay in the hearts of audiences because of that nostalgia factor and that idea that one would always like to look back on those sorts of friendships and that period in your life for the kind of excitement that it has in the film.
The phenomenon that was Bill and Ted made Keanu Reeves a household name. Keanu makes an effort to form relationships with his co-starring actors and set professionals. His friendship with River Phoenix stood out in I Love You to Death.
What do you say?
The black comedy propelled both Keanu and River to the next stages of their blossoming careers.
Whoops.
I have a feeling we're about to embark upon a most unprecedented expedition.
Bill and Ted returned once again for the sequel. There's a lot of deliberation as to which film people prefer. The battle with death remains an iconic scene in anyone's eyes. To many, it was a clever spin on Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Seal, with less chess and more Bill and Ted antics.
Bill and Ted are dead.
Keanu, having developed a passion for composing music, decided to start a band.
Dogstar.
Dogstar consisted of drummer Robert Mailhouse, who Keanu met at Gleason's Supermarket. Brett Dormouse was on guitar, and Keanu Reeves on bass and shared vocals.
That's Brett Dormouse, happy to be here.
Keanu, rock stars become music stars, movie stars all the time. How does it feel to be a movie star who's becoming a rock star who has a passion for music?
Well, I have a passion for music. I don't think myself or the band Dogstar have quite reached the heights of rock stardom, but it's been really fun playing in the band over the past 6 years, and hopefully we can continue to make records and play live and stuff, you know?
Does Dogstar afford you peace and security?
Does rock afford me peace and security? Absolutely not. No, but it's really fun, man. It's really fun to write, and the fraternity with my band members and like traveling and when we can and doing rock shows is a lot of fun.
Keanu and River Phoenix returned in a feature the following year, breaking out of the teen fiction rut and taking on a serious narrative.
I always know where I am by the way the road looks. Look, I just know that I've been here before. I just know that I've been stuck here.
So My Own Private Idaho was Gus Van Sant's take on Shakespeare's Henriade, which is a series of historical plays.
Isn't that right, Mike?
What do you care about money? You got plenty of money.
Actually, Mike is right. I am going to inherit money. A lot of money.
It took quite loose inspiration following these two young street hustlers played by River Phoenix and Keanu Reeves, who go on this journey across the United States and to Italy in search of Mike's mother. It's not only considered one of Gus Van Sant's best films, but it's become a very pivotal queer film.
So My Own Private Idaho was as far from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure as you could get.
And it's definitely one of the most heartbreaking films of the kind of 90s, and definitely for Keanu, I think, establishes him as this sort of unknowable screen presence.
Obscure, enigmatic film, quite difficult to know what's going on all the time. It has its surreal moments. And I think it was Keanu Reeves' signal to the audience that he was not going to be pigeonholed and he wasn't going to be caught in that kind of role. It was an art house film and it was an art house hit.
My Own Private Idaho is a unique, introspective film. Keanu and Rivers' performances were exceptional. The two men shared a rare bond during its production, a bond which bled into their performances and solidified the feature as a cultural milestone, thanks to its themes and raw messaging. Audiences wondered when Keanu might return to the screen with River Phoenix. Their chemistry had left a lasting impact on viewers. The two young actors seemingly had no limits. They shared great potential. The world, however, had other plans. My Own Private Idaho served as one of River Phoenix's last films before he passed at the age of 23. Keanu, like many, was devastated at the loss of this incredibly talented and beloved presence. As the young actor's career flourished, criticism of his acting became prominent.
There have been some pretty harsh criticisms directed at him, particularly regarding his role in Dracula.
With Francis Ford Coppola, a costume drama set in 19th century England, and he seems wholly out of place.
Of course, sir. I'll attend to the Count. Thank you for your confidence.
I think people who criticize Keanu Reeves as an actor have a rather snobbish idea of acting that's linked to the stage tradition and that's linked to dialogue and to an actor reciting dialogue on stage. That is not what Keanu Reeves does. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that. That's not his forte.
For me, it's just a very distinctive style of performance. It's a very reserved style where he withholds a lot and he's very subtle in his movements and his delivery.
He has a kind of intensity as a screen presence that I don't think many critics or award-giving bodies have been willing to note. He hasn't been treated particularly generously.
To search for his artistic voice, Keanu delved into any type of film imaginable, returning to the comedy genre with Much Ado About Nothing, Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, and Freaked, an experimental picture co-directed by his good friend, Alex Winter, in which Alex also starred.
Did the language ever, intimidate?
You mean English? No. Most of the play is in verse. I'm sorry, in prose. So it's a welcome challenge.
The strange casting decisions continued. Little Buddha stood out as a rogue addition for Keanu, who plays as the reincarnation of Siddhartha Gautama.
I played Prince Siddhartha, an emotional fable myth aspect interpretation. Buddhism is very specific with the psychological, emotional declension, I guess. So I guess studying that comes to emancipation from the from emotions and realizing more of what phenomenal existence is, and through that practice comes perhaps compassion and wisdom.
In the 1980s and into the 1990s, action stars tended to be figures like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger. That is really powerful, really macho, seemingly none too bright men of power and action.
Keanu Reeves helped to bring in this new age of action stars where you didn't have to be the biggest, the most ripped person on the planet to be a credible lead.
Keanu Reeves really signals a change with Speed, particularly in terms of turning him into a kind of action hero, but I think it's also a point at which he redefines the action hero.
When I find you. Pop quiz, hotshot. There's a bomb on a bus. Once the bus goes 50 miles an hour, the bomb is armed. If it drops below 50, it blows up.
Sandra Bullock is behind the wheel of the bus. Keanu Reeves is trying to save the bus. It's this crazy action thriller, as fast-paced and exciting as they come, in which he plays a kind of heroic action man. Can't think of anything more different from Bram Stoker's Dracula or My Own Private Idaho. It's a really different kind of role for him, and he absolutely owns it. He becomes this man of steel, this man of action, and it really redefines his career.
Yeah, the title Speed, and then the situations that the character got into. I mean, it was an opportunity to play, I thought, a good man and to have fun. You know, I was looking for work. It came around, and got the opportunity to play in it, and. I'm so lucky to be able to participate in such a fantasy and to hopefully entertain.
No, I think it's just nobody expected anything, and they got a lot more than they didn't expect. It's just, hype. I don't play into it. You have a good time. You hope something does well, and when it does, you're very happy. And I hope it does well for, Keanu and Jan and Dennis and,
He turns it into something that's more intelligent, with a bit of emotional depth. So he redefines the action hero and makes him just a little bit more vulnerable, even though he has that sort of power and energy that all action heroes have.
No, the nature of acting in an action picture is very much in a sense of play. You really
actually put yourself at any risk.
Even the dramatics part of it, it's really in of itself. It's a good part of it.
Keanu proved himself as a formidable action star in Speed. He followed suit with Johnny Mnemonic in 1995. To many, this sci-fi thriller was thought as the foundation for the next steps in Keanu's journey. The inclusion of cyberpunk elements drove people to believe that this was a world in which the actor seemed comfortable in, though awards would have one believe that Keanu remained a blank slate. Keanu's name has sprung up a fair few times in the Raspberry Awards. Many continued to undermine his acting abilities, whilst others saw him as merely having his own unique methodology, which greatly separated him from the traditional acting world. In the same year, A Walk in the Clouds stood out as a unique project, being an unconventional period romance. Despite family traditions, love blossoms between Reeves' character, Paul, and Victoria, played by Aitana Sanchez Gijon. The film provides a unique perspective on a Mexican family during the 1940s and social standings. The film gained Keanu another Raspberry nomination, whilst many audience members thoroughly enjoyed his performance. Keanu's performances were divisive, and slowly, people were beginning to accept that. Keanu came into contact with Jennifer Syme. Jennifer was a talented actor and filmmaker who'd worked alongside David Lynch before directing her own projects. The two became a couple. Undoubtedly, their passion for the arts was a talking point of their relationship. Before long, Jennifer became pregnant in 1999, the very year Keanu's life would change indefinitely.
Cameraman Jolyon, just get in there and get you a shot of Keanu Reeves. We're being promised we're next in the line, but these things...
I think the first film that comes to mind with Keanu Reeves is The Matrix. There are other roles that come to mind, but The Matrix is such a distinctive role. It's such a distinctive film. It's so iconic.
I was 11 when I first saw it, and I remember thinking that Keanu Reeves was probably the coolest person I'd ever seen. The film itself has such an incredible legacy and has really changed the way we think about sci-fi movies and has become kind of part of the public lexicon now. So that's the one for me that I think will always stand out.
Keanu, Sky News, we're live. Can I just ask you one very quick question, please? What do you make of the reception, not just here in London, but just The Matrix worldwide?
It's pretty extraordinary, and it's great to be a part of. It doesn't happen all that often. It's just, for me, I love the films, and I had a great experience making them, and so hopefully people will enjoy them. And the experience of making the film was a great one, and then the aspect when it came around to complete the trilogy, just signed on board without reading the scripts because of just the experience that I had and the trust I have in the directors. And had a great experience making Reloaded and Revolutions, and it's great that people are coming out to the films, and I hope that they enjoy them.
Famously, Will Smith says that one of his biggest regrets is turning down The Matrix, which he turned down in favour of Wild Wild West because he had a lot of doubts about whether or not the Wachowskis would be able to pull off the very tricky special effects. Nicolas Cage similarly turned down the film, as well as Brad Pitt and Val Kilmer. So it was quite a long list of names before Keanu Reeves was the one that the script came to. And Warner Brothers really fought quite hard for Keanu whereas the Wachowskis were more interested in having Johnny Depp. Keanu ended up being a perfect choice because he was a little bit of a blank slate who didn't have a huge profile at the time. He really gave this sense of naivety and almost openness that I think any other actor would have probably struggled with. But the reason the film works is because we feel this real connection to him, and he could be kind of anyone within the world. He is a kind of audience surrogate who gets embroiled in this very weird world and kind of has to just go along with it.
I did all right. I got kicked a couple of times, you know, burst open my thumb, and, you know, one of the wire tricks I remember, I got caught in a tree. But I never really got hurt.
All in a day's work.
So The Matrix came out in 1999. We have to think back then to how early that is to have a cyber thriller, right? A thriller about the internet. When most people were still just getting to grips with what the internet was, this is a whole drama based around the internet. It also involves a lot of AI, artificial intelligence, again, at a time when not a lot of people would have even known what that was.
I'm glad to be here. You know, I'm glad to speak about something that I love so much. I'm a fan of these movies, and I had a great time making them. They've been a huge part of my life. And so to come out and travel and speak about them is part of the gift, I guess. I'm fine with it.
You've done lots of really interesting work, haven't you? You know.
Yeah, I've been trying.
Yeah.
You know, I really feel like The Matrix is the event, is the piece that we all, actors and craftspeople, are a part of, you know? So hopefully if anything's remembered, it will be the films themselves, you know? And we're part of that.
So it is an incredibly innovative and I think in a way prophetic film. It just broke a lot of new ground and opened up new cinematic worlds for audiences. The Matrix is an iconic film partly because of its visual style, that it imagined the cyber world cinematically at a time when few, if any, films had done that. It's interesting to look at it now and realize just how paranoid it is and how steeped in conspiracy it is, that everything we see and do is artificial and invented by larger structures around us that are all out to get us, that are all out to farm us, literally.
It's pretty special.
Keanu, you've been a bit of a rocker in the past. I mean, how rock
Not like these guys.
How rock and roll are you now? Are you still rocking it up?
No, I'm not. I'm going a quieter path now. More measured and quieter.
The fame which came to Keanu thanks to the Matrix franchise was immense. Beyond the glitz and glamour, Keanu's partner, Jennifer, gave birth to their daughter, Ava. Sadly, the baby was stillborn. The birth affected Keanu and Jennifer beyond comprehension. The couple briefly parted ways, before reuniting once more in 2001 after dealing with the loss in their own way. One's personal life can put a great deal of strain on their career. Whilst fans of Keanu could only speculate, it was something that many felt sympathy for. To juggle publicity and privacy is a war Keanu seemed to avoid fighting. His emotions were raw and could be seen in his interactions alongside his performances. An aura of honesty and humbleness began to radiate from Keanu, something many celebrities could not demonstrate due to being enveloped by fame. But Keanu was a completely different entity. The Gift, directed by Sam Raimi, took Keanu back to a darker character and is regarded as one of the actor's more unique performances. His role as Donnie Barksdale allowed Keanu to explore his emotional range within a whodunit narrative.
Brothers, I mean, your mama being a witch and all. If she don't stop her evil ways, someday somebody's gonna burn her up. And then you boys are gonna be without a dad.
I play Detective Tom Ludlow, the LAPD. I'm an officer implicated in the death of his ex-partner who's trying to find the killers, and along the way, I kind of dig up more than I argued. It was a great role, and working with David was great, and you know, I had an intense but really good experience. And the role was a reach for me, but it was one that I really enjoyed reaching for, and hopefully people will like it.
On April the 1st, 2001, Jennifer Syme attended a party at the home of Marilyn Manson. On her approach, she was involved in a car collision which proved fatal. The tragedy, compounded with the loss of their child, was a shock of sadness to Keanu, alongside being a great moment of realization and reflection. Life in Keanu's eyes appeared to seem fragile. In September 2009, Keanu's philanthropic work came into the spotlight. He began to establish the Keanu Charles Reeves Foundation. He desired to raise money in support of cancer research, a need only strengthened due to his younger sister, Kim, who had suffered from leukemia for a decade. It was brought to the media's attention that Keanu had also donated over 70% of his earnings from The Matrix to charity, alongside continuing to donate huge sums of his purse for causes he has deemed as necessary to back. People had just realized one key thing: Keanu Reeves was 1 in a million. In May 2010, an image cropped up showing Keanu sitting alone at a park bench. He was eating a sandwich, and the internet went crazy about it.
We're all familiar with sad.
I'm just eating a sandwich,
Sad Keanu.
man.
Sad Keanu, I mean, right there.
Man, I'm
This is
eating
a frame
sandwich.
of Berserker from...
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves has become known for this incredible generosity, both of spirit and kind of monetarily. He is a big philanthropist and is known for just helping out anyone that needs it. That is something that is incredibly genuine coming from Keanu. He seems like someone who just really wants to leave the world a better place than he found it. One of the stories that always gets repeated is how much he loves stunt teams because he makes so many action movies, and he always buys really incredible gifts as a thank you to all these people he works with. He bought Ducati motorcycles for everyone on The Matrix and then Rolexes for everyone on John Wick because he just wants to kind of share his success with the world. There's a really lovely clip from a few years ago where he was stranded at an airport with a group of passengers and was giving them a sort of impromptu tour with some facts he found on Wikipedia.
Its population is around 380,000, making it the 9th most populous city in California and the 52nd most populous city in the nation.
We all say it, we all do it, and I think it has meaning. I think it's what we're going through now. I think it's the reason that things are all sort of a little bit uncomfortable.
He is known for being a very genuine soul, the opposite of a diva within Hollywood.
I think it's maybe too easy to say that Keanu Reeves makes action films and sci-fi films alone. It's true, those are the films that have the most impact, those are the most popular films he makes. But he also makes a pretty wide variety of films. He tries his hands in quite a wide range of genres. It doesn't always work out that well, at least in terms of the box office of the films, but he's always trying to do something a little different. So he makes the film The Lake House, for example, with Sandra Bullock, which is a very romantic film. Something's Gotta Give with Diane Keaton and Jack Nicholson, a comedy. He's an actor who's always stretching his wings, whether the audience takes note or not. Now, he's a very private man, so we don't know a lot about him as a person. He doesn't talk about his private life or his beliefs very readily. One senses his personality when he's on talk shows promoting his films, his laid-back nature. When he talks about what he likes to do off-screen, it's usually riding his motorcycle, long motorcycle trips. He's not someone who's seen on the red carpet a lot. He's not one who's seen at openings, at nightclubs, at He's not one of those Hollywood A-list people who's always in a tux and attending the right thing. One gets the sense that he is this sort of very laid-back, centered, easygoing guy, and fans pick up on that.
I learned how to ride a motorcycle when I was doing a film in Munich. This young woman had an Enduro, and I asked her if she'd teach me how to ride it. And when I came back to Los Angeles, this is probably around 86, 87, I got my first motorcycle. You know, when I don't ride a motorcycle, I go through withdrawal. It's not good for my health.
If you look around on social media a bit, you can see various videos of him, like when he's on the subway in New York, people notice him giving up his seat to others or helping them with their luggage or doing all sorts of just really kind acts of everyday behavior that reinforce the idea that this guy is not a slave to Hollywood glamour, but is his own person.
In the 2000s, Keanu really started to kind of experiment more. He was doing the Matrix sequels, but he was also taking on roles like John Constantine in the adaptation of the comic books about a man dying of cancer who hunts down all kinds of supernatural entities. And that's become one of the roles that I think a lot of people still, even now, nearly 20 years later, still want him to make a sequel to that film. He was also taking on roles in films like Something's Gotta Give and Thumbsucker, which were a little bit more comedic for him. And then he did A Scanner Darkly, which was Richard Linklater's very experimental rotoscope animation film. So I think that Keanu really started to kind of take more risks once he'd had the success of The Matrix and to start getting involved with films that were a little bit different for him.
You know, I mean, I'm trying to play different kinds of roles, different genres, and not be typecast. So, you know, I don't think you're going to see The Private Lives of Pippa Lee and expect to see Neo or something like that, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the physical part of acting, and this one certainly has that going for it. So, yeah, it was a good experience.
Keanu made his directing debut with Man of Tai Chi in 2013. He really played into kind of his interest in action and in martial arts particularly.
But there's a sense in which he hasn't quite found his feet or found his new role until he makes the first John Wick film.
The loss of a loved one was depicted beautifully by Keanu in 2014 upon the release of John Wick. Beyond being an impeccably well-choreographed franchise of action filmmaking, John Wick connoted an understanding of impermanence, that suffering is merely an unavoidable part of life.
You like that, huh?
It is at this point where we bear witness to this actor showing discipline which goes far beyond physical feats. Keanu himself and John Wick shared something in common: loss, as do they share the willingness to persevere.
How good's your laundry?
No one's that good.
I thought not.
That starts a whole new franchise for him and gives him a new identity as a more mature actor. He's not the young teenage Keanu Reeves anymore. He plays an action hero who cannot be defeated. No matter what you throw at him, he cannot be defeated.
John Wick has become one of the most successful action franchises of all time, and I think that it totally wouldn't work without Keanu. And I think that a lot of that is down to the partnership between Keanu Reeves and Chad Stahelski.
And you must be very good at Kung Fu now as well.
I'm okay at movie kung fu.
Okay.
Yeah, movie action.
New characters,
New characters.
new storyline, of course,
Yeah.
new set pieces, new action.
Oh, what's staying the same? John
Wick.
Suffering, fighting for freedom.
Always.
Together they really care about making sure that the John Wick films are not only incredibly well crafted but incredibly entertaining. Definitely the amount of effort Keanu and Stahelski have put into casting the films and building the world of the films. The franchise is incredibly beloved by action fans around the world.
But wait, we do some car stuff.
Cars, horses,
cars are back.
fights.
Not really horses.
A little bit of horses.
But we have cars.
A lot of cars.
A
Motorcycle.
lot of fighting,
Motorcycle
jiu-jitsu, judo, gun
Jiu-jitsu,
fu.
judo, gun fu.
Oh, we got some surprises
Swords.
in there.
Yep.
Got some surprises, yeah.
They both require this incredible amount of stunt work from Keanu, who has really shown this ability to throw himself into his work, especially in the latest John Wick film, where he falls down the longest flight of stairs in the world repeatedly and quite heavily. He's someone who really wants to innovate within his space and try new things. There's a constant quality.
So it's a curious combination of the old style vigilante film in which the action hero is seeking justice, but it's overlaid with a level of heartache and vulnerability that gives the film and the character some depth.
Well, I love the role, and for me it was really cool to have the response of the first film from the audience to give us the opportunity to tell another chapter in John's life.
I remember the first day that I was back we were starting to film, and the first time that I put the suit back on, it was literally the same suit from chapter 2, and it still fit.
I was always inspired by the early James Bond movies, about how they took you places and they made you really think about the world and places you want to go and inspire you. So we just wanted to do the same thing. It's a bit of a saga. It's John Wick's story. It's John Wick's saga. So you get to see John Wick go through a lot of trials and tribulations, some great set pieces, and meet some interesting people.
Yeah, the world,
shoot
the
'em.
character. I mean, you went, you were going a little big.
Went pretty big on this one.
Yeah.
We wanted the world of John Wick to feel big.
Is it true that there's really going to be a Bill and Ted 3? Is it really true? Like, that's my dream come true if so. I can't wait to see it, man. Huge fan.
We didn't expect to want to make another one. Including, not just Keanu and myself, including the writers Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon. And I think they just kind of got inspired. They had this idea they brought to us a while ago, like a good 10 years ago, that we just thought was really hilarious and had a lot of potential.
Third installment, is it on the cards? Is it happening?
Maybe. Yeah, they're writing a script, Chris and Ed, so we'll see if it's any good.
You're not giving much away though. You just...
Well, that's all I know. I mean, it's just like they've got the burden and, why hasn't things happened and they're still kind of stuck in their life.
Yeah. I think it would be good. I think it would be better than good. I think it would be...
It would be ridiculous, but fun.
But fun.
If it's good.
It would be excellent. You're not going to say it, are you?
Not today.
Not today. Oh, I tried.
Some projects were deemed more critically successful than others. Yet Keanu maintained his passion throughout every project he was a part of.
Yeah, I was reliving it at the same time, living it anew. That gesture you're talking about, kind of feeling the back and seeing what if the plug's there and stuff, there was certain moments that were intentionalized, like, okay, so that was then, so let's do it now, but now is different. And I think Lana Wachowski, the director, was playing with that idea of the past and the present.
It was challenging for sure and exciting. I love that physical aspect of what it takes to play Trinity. As challenging as it was, just because my body's so different 20 years later, and it was a challenge that I loved. I love being a part of those really physical scenes, and especially doing them with him. He's so masterful at it, and it's so, I learn a lot by watching him and how he meets the action in such a believable language. He has just this incredible ability with his body to tell story, and I learned a lot working with him this time around, watching him and trying to take some of it.
Well, you nailed it. I also like just the first time that we meet, and then all of our scenes.
It's really fun. It was really fun. Every day was really, really lovely to be across from him and partnering up in that way. It was really a joy.
In the Matrix.
Yeah.
animation became a new stone for Keanu to overturn. His appearances in Toy Story 4, alongside SpongeBob and League of Super Pets, resulted in some fantastic vocal deliveries and often material which would later become a meme template. The memes, of course, were a way of honoring the actor, not to belittle him. Keanu, thanks to his earthly persona, had tapped into a new generation of audience, which has embraced him for who he is. To a lot of people, Keanu appears as a source of comfort and hope in this turbulent world. His calmness and enjoyment of the simple things in life is how many others wish for themselves to live.
I think audiences have always enjoyed seeing Keanu Reeves off screen because when they see him, he's not doing the normal Hollywood things. And he comes across as a genuine, laid-back person who has a life quite separate from his star power and his incredible earnings. He must be one of the best paid actors in Hollywood, but he seems like someone who just likes riding around on his motorcycle. And when he's on talk shows, he's very self-deprecating and doesn't have any of the self-importance that a lot of Hollywood actors bring. So I think people see something genuine and genuinely laid back in him that's very appealing, and they've seen that from the beginning, from his earliest films through to his latest films. So one of the most intriguing things I've heard him say about his future is that he'd like to play King Lear. And I'm not sure whether he meant that on stage or on screen, but I think it would be a great part for him. I think he looks like Lear now. John Wick looks like Lear, and I think it would be a great way for him to stretch his wings further as an actor.
For over 30 years, Reeves has really had this incredibly varied career, which is defined by these really intense action roles that he has managed to make his own, and he's really got this kind of bravery, I think, as a performer, where he's been knocked down by life, by bad reviews, by bad box office reception, but he's always kind of got back up. His impact is really reshaping what it means to be a leading man and also what it means to be a successful actor and to how you should take bad reviews as an actor. His parlance of his online persona, or certainly his outside of film persona with on-screen performances, especially in John Wick, has become incredibly unique and something that we're going to see influencing the next generation of action stars.
Well, I don't think he'll be remembered primarily as an actor in the sense that we remember, say, Laurence Olivier or Marlon Brando as an actor. And I don't think he'll be remembered as the kind of star that Tom Cruise is or George Clooney is, someone where we know a lot about their private life and we feel their presence in the film, the presence of their personality in the film. I think he'll be remembered in terms of the screen, in terms of his acting, as someone who really changed the action genre and brought a new kind of figure into it. A more thoughtful, a more emotionally complex, less macho action figure. I think that'll be a key part of his legacy. And the other part will be someone who managed to be a star and a top earning star for decades without taking on any of the trappings of glamour or scandal or self-importance that so many other Hollywood stars have.
Keanu Reeves is far and away one of the more unconventional actors. His ability to have his spirit seep into the roles he undertakes is remarkable. He has experienced so much in his lifetime. Though he deservedly remains a private person, he has shown the world his kindness, his generosity and appreciation for what others might perceive as mundane. There is no doubt that Keanu is a beacon for many people who have experienced similar events in their own life. It is the acceptance of our flaws and the willingness to continue which Keanu has gifted to the people.
What do you think happens when we die, Keanu Reeves?
I know that the ones who love us will miss us.